Alright, in this quick tutorial what we will do is we'll try to create a login logout. In other word, a subscriber login logout page. So this is the login page and this is the register page. So once the user registers it, he would be transferred to the login page. Once the user logged in, he will be allowed to access the home. If I type home now, it won't allow me. It will redirect me to the login page. Again, if I am typing home, it will redirect me to the login page. It's because until and unless you're logged in, you won't be able to access the home. So let me try registering it by myself. So I'm going to name it as UIMonk2 and the password is also UIMonk2. You can set the date of birth, you can specify your gender and you can specify your email address. I have already registered this, so in that case UIMonk2, and the phone number some random number, and choose your subject and click on submit. Once you click on submit, it would give you a message saying that you are registered successful. Now you can log in. So if I click on login with the registered, right now I got registered myself as UIMonk2 and I made the password as UIMonk2. If I click on submit, I'll be able to access the dashboard now. So the dashboard is empty as of now. Don't worry about that. We'll create that in the later on coming session. But if I click on log out and try to access the home again, it will not allow me. So to access the dashboard, what should I do? I need to log in again with the credentials which I have created right now, which is UIMonk2, and I have given the password as UIMonk. If I click on submit, and now you will see you have the access to the dashboard. So this is what you are going to see in this tutorial for the so this is the dashboard that I have used. So you can download this from this URL. I'll leave the link in the description. Just download it and start along with me. Also for the source code, I have linked the source code of the project which I have shown you right now in the URL. Just download it and start along with me. Alright, as the very first thing what we will do is we'll be just getting into the directory by change directory, and in the C drive you will find XAMPP, C drive htdocs, and over here we have a folder called Laravel projects, and inside that I want to create our Laravel folder. So I'm telling the composer create a project and download the Laravel package and name it as subscriber 2, and the preferred version is 8.6.3. so by the time it gets downloaded, what we can do is make sure your XAMPP is running. I'm going to get into PHP admin. I'm going to create a database. So you can see my XAMPP is running the MySQL and Apache server. So I'll be having access to the local host only when your XAMPP is running. So after that, let's just wait till it loads. So now we can click on this new. Let's just name it as subscriber 2 because we have named the folder as subscriber 1. Sorry, subscriber 2. Will use the same for the database. So it's still working, and now we'll be installing the Laravel UI package and then the authentication. I'm sorry, what we have to do is we have to get into the folder and then run the package. Change directory, the subscriber 2, and then install the Laravel UI package, and then we will be installing the Bootstrap Auth, and then for the authentication we'll install the Auth. And once these are done, what we need to do is we need to make sure our npm run dev, and the code would be like npm install and npm run dev. Alright, if you don't see this table, that means it has not properly installed and you may need to run npm run dev again. Cool. Now let's just open this Laravel in Visual Studio Code. In that case you will be typing code and dot. Cool, it has opened. Now click on the env. So this is where you will be connecting your Laravel folder with your database. So we have given the database name as subscriber2. So let's just replace that SUBSC subscriber2, and since it's XAMPP, the username is root and the password is blank. So once this is done, the next thing what we need to do is, in the resource folder you will find views and then auth. So you have login and register. So let's just create a controller for redirecting these both. So if you click on login, this is the login page, and if you click on register, and this is the register page. So let me just open the HTML that we will be using here. So in the desktop, so let's just convert the HTML into Laravel template. I have pressed Ctrl O. The file explorer will open now, and from there we'll be selecting the folder called color lib. It's in the desktop. I leave the link of this source code in the description. Just download it and start along with me. Now this is, if you click on index, this is how it's going to look like, the registration page. So to be fair and simple, what we will do is, let me just open this. So before opening it, in the desktop we have color lib folder, and in the color lib you will get this assets. It has all the CSS, JS and vendor JS. Vendor folder again will have some useful CSS or JS. So let's just copy this and get into our C drive, XAMPP, htdocs. So we can find I have created a shortcut for that, Laravel projects. Then we have subscriber2. Get into the subscriber2, and over here public, just paste your asset here, and let's just open our HTML in the Visual Studio Code. In the desktop again, open the index. Let's just copy this and paste in place of login and register. Now this isn't enough. What we have to do is we have to link our assets. So in that case we'll be using, I'm pressing Alt and clicking here, use the blade template, and asset is the function name, and pass this a parameter, and on the closing I'm just clicking Alt again, open the single, close the single quote and close the round bracket and close the blade template. The same way, let me just get into the script, pressing Alt for multiple selection, use the blade asset single quotes, and while closing it, close the single quote, close the round bracket and close the blade template. Now in the web.php, so what I will do is I'll just separate these header, just copy the head section, and in the auth, or yeah, in the auth, let's create a new folder called subscriber header, or just the layouts again, and inside the layout we'll create a new file called we can name anything, so it should be meaningful. So cover, and inside the cover let's just paste this. So it should be cover.blade.php, cover.blade.php. Cool. And since we have made a cut, and in the body, let me remove the script tag and give it to the cover, and in between section I'll write YIELD, and I'll pass the word container. So now we need to surround this container with our body tag. So at the rate section, pass the container and make sure to end the section at the rate end section. Let me just copy this and paste this on the login it also. So over here we need to extend at the rate extends, which is inside auth dot layout dot cover. So auth layout cover, copy the whole and paste it again at the top. So in the web.php, which you can find in the routes folder, so we may need to create a controller again. Let me find a controller here. Here we have a controller, so let the controller name be customLogin. Since we can type here itself, no issues. So our controller is created. If you notice in the app, in the HTTP, in the controller, you will find customLogin. So we can use this customLogin in the web.php, which you can get it in route. And let me just duplicate this. So when there's a call for login, get into the controller and get into the index page and login. So we can name it as subscriber.login. So this is name. It doesn't matter what name you give. So here we need to call the controller. So no need, because it's already called here. So what is the flow of Laravel? Let me just open PHP artisan serve. This will open your live server. In this case it's running in the port 8000 on the IP address. This is the IP address, and after colon it's the port number. So when I search for login, what will happen? So when there's a call for login, the Laravel will get into the web.php. Web.php can be found inside the routes folder, and when there's a call for this URL, get into the controller, and inside the controller you will find index. So get into the controller, and here we have index, and we can return view, and the view can be found inside auth dot inside auth. I think it's in the resources, views, auth. Inside auth we have login, auth dot login. So this is for login, and for register we have a page again, register. So dot simply means slash in Laravel in case of view. So if there's a call for register, get into the register function, and this is the name of the route. I'll say the name of the route when it's needed, but let's just focus on this right now. So if I refresh again, you should see the HTML of login, and if I search for register again, it will be the same form. So in case you want to change the title, you can see this is title from the cover. So here what we can do is just type @YIELD and give title. So let me just get into the register, and over here @YIELD, and you can give a register page the same way. Sorry, it should be @section @section, and here you should give title the name, and @end section, and make sure this title match with this keyword, or else it won't work. So here you need to write registration page. Don't look for the spelling mistake, I'm in a hurry. So you should see the title at the rate end section at the rate section. So the same for the login, just copy this and get into login.blade.php and paste it. Let's just refresh and you can see registration page shows up, and here in the login let's just make a duplicate and call for a login. Make sure you have written login here in the, and if you refresh you should find login. Cool. And we can edit the page right now. For the login we just need name and password, or you can have email and password. Email, and we can remove all. If I make a refresh you should see it's just the login, and let this be full. Now since our page is ready, now what we need to do is we need to create a model. So the model is already created. If you see app models users, as of now it just have only 3 fields. Let's just make some more field by modifying the user table. So here the table structure is like this. So in the migration folder, database migration, so here create user, you see by default we have name, password, email, and again password. Now if I make, let me open cmd again, so let that server be running. Now here we will get into the folder cd.cd XAMPP, cd htdocs, cd Laravel projects, cd subscriber 2, and now we'll create a modification file. So here I am saying php artisan make migration file, and let the file name be modify user table, and this is the table, that the related table. So before that let me show you php artisan migrate. So I have mistakenly used that. You can delete this, modify user table, delete, move to bin, and at present the database is blank. Once the code runs you will find four tables inside the subscriber to database. So let the code run. So it's running, you can see it's getting migrated, and you see we have 5 tables, and in the user table these are the default columns. So here what are the columns that we need? Name is there, password is there, but we need to add birthday, we need to add gender, we need to add phone number, we need to add subject. Cool, let's just do that. So these are the fields that we would be needing, but for that what we need to do is we need to create the migration file again, which I showed you. In the migration file, after writing the code, you will, as of now there is only 4 default files. Let me add one, and over here I'm saying make migration file, and let the migration file be this by this name, and I'm saying this migration file is related to the table called users. So once this is done you will find the migration file called modify users table, and here we need to specify the additional columns. So you will find 2 functions, up and down. So in the up function you will be adding the columns to the user table. That's what it is. So let's just add. So you can see name is there, password is there, gender is not there, birthday is not there, gender is not there, email is there, phone is not there, subject we need to add. So here you can see I am referring the table and adding the column called birthday, gender, phone and subject. These are the relevant data type. So the birthday should be date and enum. So out of 3 only 1 would be selected, and we have phone number which is nullable, subject which is nullable. And if you save this and rerun the migration code again, you will find the table would have modified. If I click on the browse again, you will see birthday, gender, phone and subject has been added. So make sure to add these names in your HTML register. So here you will find register.blade.php, name is there, password is there, and birthday should be small case, and then we have gender, and then we have email, then we have phone, and then we have subject, and over here you'll see the gender. It should have the value. As I said, you have mentioned the enum. There should be only of these 3 values, or else it will throw an error. Value male, and this is for value female. Now let's just find the start, and since it's Laravel you need to write CSRF and you need to mention the URL. So here you'll be using the URL. So in the web.php, let me just duplicate this. So register submit is the URL, or register/submit, and route register.submit, and the relevant function register submit. And now we can use this name over here in the register. So use the blade route, and you can pass the name of the route. Since we have already used single quotes, that's the reason why it's throwing an error. Now this is the route name, so the relevant route function we need to create here. As of now we have named the function as register submit. So we'll be receiving the HTML input field over here with this variable, and the request, let's just dump the received request, dump and die. Don't forget to add semicolon. Now if I refresh this and click on submit, so it's a post method is not supported. It should be post. Since we are sending data, it should be post. Click on submit. So you can see there is a change in route. Since we have mentioned the name of the route, but in the URL it's the URL. In the browser's URL section, you will see the relevant URL, as we have mentioned only the route name, but the relevant URL has shown up over here, and these are the details. So you can see. Now let's just add a validation on the register submit. So since we get all the value here, now it's time for the validation. And now you'll see I'm calling the request validate. Name is required, password is required, birthday is required, gender is required, email is required, subject is required, and phone is required. Once these are done, so what we need to do is we need to display the error, the relevant error, just below our input field. So we can have our error in this way. We don't need this fan, So just to make this short and simple, we have a error directive and check for the name, and again dollar $error, or you can specify dollar errors, and first this one you need to pass the name. So why first? So if you see, we have mentioned only one. What if there is one more condition and min value is 6? Min value should be 3. In that case, this is first, and if this gets satisfied, then it gets first. So that's the reason first. Let me just try submitting it, and let's just see whether we are getting the error or not. Undefined constant name. Actually, it's not constant, it's a variable. Let's just click submit, and you can see the main field is required. The same way, we'll use this for password. You need to pass the name attribute here, and again we have birthday. We need to pass the main attribute, name attribute. Anyway, this is going to get checked. The email and phone, and finally the subject. Just cut this and paste this below, and if some of this are blank, you'll get the error saying that these are. So let me just give you a quick tip. When I type Vishal and click on submit, the name would go away. So if you want that name to stay in the place, what you will do is you'll have a value, and here again we'll be using the blade literal, and don't forget it's surrounded quotes, and old, and inside the old you need to pass name. So now if I make a refresh, and if I type my name and click refresh, your name your name will stay, but not in the other section. So I would recommend you to have this attribute in all the places on wherever you want your value to stick, even though the page gets refreshed. Cool. Pass the name, and that's it. So now the validation part is done. We need to call the model. So here use app, and inside the app we have modals, modals. Inside models we have users. So if I click on models, you'll find user. Now we can use this user model to insert the values into the database. So what I done is, so these are the column names, and these are the data that we receive from the request. In that case, request all, and let's just store this into a variable called data. And now you'll see these are column names. As I said, these are the name attribute, and we need to import the hash and session here. So let's import the hash and session. So we'll be using the auth also. So then we are converting the password into hash, and then we are storing our date in the format of year, month and day, and then these are regular, as we know. And now once it is saved, we need to redirect it to the login page. So instead of login, what we can do is we can redirect them to the same place, which is register. So we need to check the name. So the register has a name called subscriber.register. Subscriber.register. And these are the message, and you can see registered successfully, and we need to catch this message in the register.php. So just above or just after your submit button, we can have a message saying that registered successfully. So here, if you have a session and the session name is message, so you can see I'm passing this message, I'm accessing this message over here, and then show the message, and after the message shows, we would pass the link of login. So here the route name that we have given is for the login is subscriber.login. So let's just try, and let me open the users table. As of now this is blank, so let's start registering it. Here it's going to be Vishal, and the password is also Vishal, and the birth date you can specify any. Let this be mail, email, phone number, and the subject. Click on submit. So if it's saved, you will see registered successfully and you have access to login page. If you click on login, you will see the login page is there. So if you click on the browse, a new row would have inserted in the table, and now you can see the data has been inserted. Now we need to check the login. So again, in the login.php, we need to find the form tag and give the token C a cross-site request forgery, and let the action be login check or pass a route. Just use this route. Again, this is going to be post, and this is a login submit, and let us change the function name, and the name of the route we can use it in over here, and let's just create a function in the custom. Again, we would be getting the request, and let's just try whether we are getting the request. And if I click on login, yes, we got it. So now again we need to validate it. Name and password both are required, and we need to show the error message if one of them is not found. We have made this required. The same way for the password, and if I make a refresh and click on submit, this password is required, but email is not showing up. I don't know why. Submit. In the route, it's email, not name. Now you'll find both are required. So once you get this, you need to check for authentication, and we have seen the data all, request all. Now it's just only request only. Get the email and password and store it into database. And now with this auth class static function attempt, we are passing the data, so which is nothing but email and password. So if the login is successful, so in that case we'll be getting the ID, and I'm storing it into the user ID. And if the user ID is found, and if the user ID is found, in that case it would show the 1. If it's found, then store the relevant column in this user data. And then what we can do is we can create a session. If you remember, we have used the session variable over here. We can use the session to store the single row data which we receive from the database. So this whole row will get this over here, and we are putting it into the session. And since the session is made, now we can redirect them to the home. So let me just show you the home. So let's just type home, login, home is there. So home is not showing up. It's because, or let's just search for, no, let's just go for home. So in the home, it is going to check for home controller. So here we have home controller, and since this is made, let me just comment this, and in the index file it is just returning the home view. Home view can be found in the resources, views, and in the views you will find home. So this is the actual home. So if I search for home again, you will get you are logged in. You get the message saying that you are logged in. Cool. Let me just refresh this. So we don't have to show the home. Yeah, let's just try to refresh it, and if everything goes well, in the login, so we have given the username as this one, and the password is nothing but Vishal. If you click on login, you should get redirected. Page expired. It's because maybe CS our photograph is there. So I tried, but it just logged me in. So if I click on log out and try logging in again, the password is Vishal. If you click on submit, you got logged in. And over here in the dashboard, which is home.blade.php, and from where it is coming, it's coming from app. So we have a logout feature. Logout is there, and the route is logout. So let me just change it to subscriber.logout. Let's just create this route in the web.php. So this should be in the URL, and the relevant function is logout submit. So in the custom login, we'll create one more function, and it will do nothing. It will simply erase the session. It will make you log out. If you make the, it will make the auth logout and erase the session and erase the generated CSRF token and redirect them to login page. So the login URL is simply /login. So let's try clicking on logout. Click on logout. Request is, you can see we are using the request because we are not passing it. Let's just pass it. So the get is not supported. Now log out again. Now you are logged in. Actually, in the login file there is some cross-site request forgery. Now if I make a refresh and try for dashboard, it will allow me. So let's just create a middleware. so that the middleware simply blocks direct access to this URL unless you are logged in. Let's just make that. So this is the relevant code. PHP artisan make login check. Login check is going to be the middleware. Again, once it is created, you will find a middleware in the HTTP folder middleware. So our middleware, we have named it as login check. So before proceeding, what should happen here? Before proceeding to the next step, what should happen? It should check for the authentication. If it is logged in, then only proceed to the next step, or else redirect them to the login page. Let's do that. And here you can make if condition. If user is logged in, then return to the next step, or else redirect, or simply you can copy the return redirect login. So if I now, after creating the middleware, there are some formalities. Get into the kernel and you need to find route group middleware and just duplicate this auth and give the name and give the class name. This is the class name and this is the nickname. So you need to use this nickname in the web.php. So which all URL that you need to block. So in that case, I need to block the URL called home. So let's just call that, and we'll be creating a route group. So the route group syntax goes like this. So let me just show you. And this is the middleware. I have created a route group over here. This URL won't be accessed unless it satisfies the condition that we have specified in the login check class. So let me try getting into the home. It will not allow me, but it will redirect me to the login page. Cool. Let me try it again. Dashboard. Sorry, not dashboard, but home. It will redirect me to the login page. But if I log in, so I have given the URL, sorry, email this one, and this is the password. And if I click on login, now it will allow me. So once I log out and try the home again, it will not allow me. Cool. Now let's just register with another URL, another account. So here it's going to be name as UImonk, password is also UImonk, the date of birth, the gender, the email is already registered, in that case UImonk, the phone number, anything, this is a random number, not my number, and click on the status subject, click on subject, sorry, submit. You will be, it says register successful, click on login. Now let's just log in. We have made it uimonk@gmail.com and the password is uimonk. Click on submit, and here you go, you're logged in. If I click on log out, you're logged out, and if I search try to get into home again, it will not allow me. Cool. That's all for this video. Thank you so much.